I'm Giovanni Valderes, and I chose the Temple of Bacchus as my presentation topic. Now, who built the Temple of Bacchus? The Temple of Bacchus was built from the Romans. What is the Temple of Bacchus, you might ask? The Temple of Bacchus is a temple that was built by the Romans for worshiping and honoring their god of wine, known as Bacchus. Now, where is this located? The Temple of Bacchus is located in Baalbek, Lebanon. Now, when was this temple built? The Temple of Bacchus was built around 138 AD to 161 AD. Now, why was this temple built? The Romans built the Temple of Bacchus to worship and honor their god of wine, known as Bacchus, who has many other names. Now let's talk about the architecture of the Temple of Bacchus. The Temple of Bacchus was built from limestones and pink granite, which the Romans got from Aswan in Egypt. The Temple of Bacchus had a height of 31 meters, or 102 feet, and had a size of 66 meters by 35 meters. Or 217 feet by 115 feet. The columns from the Temple of Bacchus had a height of 20 meters, or 66 feet. The columns were decorated with drawings of bulls, lions, and crown-shaped ornaments with a geometric pattern. Obviously, the Temple of Bacchus was a masonry structure. And lastly, the Temple of Bacchus cella was decorated with Corinthian pilasters. Now let's talk about the history of the Temple of Bacchus. The Temple of Bacchus was first built around 150 AD and commissioned by the Roman Emperor Antonius. The Temple of Bacchus was later then Christianized during 313 CE. When Constantine the Great was Roman Emperor. The Temple of Bacchus stayed a Christian place to worship and pray until the arrival of the Muslim Arabs, which was around 637 CE. The Temple of Bacchus went through an attack by the Byzantine army in 748 CE, where they lost and gave control of the temple to the Ottoman Empire in 975 CE, which they end up basically letting the temple rot over time. Now let's talk about some fun facts about the Temple of Bacchus. The Temple of Bacchus went through multiple military campaigns and earthquakes that's left the temples into mostly ruins. The Temple of Bacchus was one of the many temples used for worshiping and honoring the Roman gods. And there was actually two other temples built next to it. The Temple of Bacchus was not only used to worship the god of wine for the Romans, but also used for worshiping Christianity when the Romans had a change in religion. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier. The Romans end up basically changing into Christianity when Constantine was emperor. The Temple of Bacchus was preserved and worked on in 1898 CE by the Germans, whose emperor at the time was Wilhelm II. Lastly, let's talk about the fellow temples around the Temple of Bacchus. There was actually two other temples that was built next to the Temple of Bacchus, and they are the Temple of Jupiter, which was built by the Romans around 60 AD, and the Temple of Jupiter was used to honor and worship the god of Heliopolis. And the second temple, which is in the picture below, is the Temple of Venus, which was also built by the Romans, and this temple was used to honor and worship their goddess of Venus, Felix. And lastly, this is my works cited, and thank you.